Oh, it's lit. We prime time. Subscribe, like, and share. Give us your feedback. Yo, I'm Manny at the plate and Kobe off a steal. Gretzky for the goal and Brady at the wheel. I'm a game changer, the Osaka of the tennis. And breaking scoreboard, Simone of the Olympics. Defense and big business, the Mayweather who way better. From the greatness of Jim Brown, I've been down. Talking sports before I was off the porch. Screaming Bo knows while Jordan was playing horse. Late 80s getting torched by the drive and the shot. 2016 got a ring off the three in the block. They eased to forgot the cardiac kids. Price and Doherty, Bale in the Indian years. This who it is. Your host DeeTrynt, yo, that's a name banger. Come in the streets and talk sports with the game changer. Yo, your host DeeTrynt, that's a name banger. Come in the streets and talk sports with the game changer. Yo. What's really good, man? DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports Talk, InDaStreetzSportz, man. How y'all feeling today? All right, it is a pretty good day out here in Florida. It's raining off and on, but it's like 75, 80 degrees with humidity. It's all right. I got off the job not too long ago, and, I put up a post on my Facebook. Follow DeeTrynt on Facebook. You feel me? That's DEE space TRYNT. All right. I got a fan page and just a regular, personal DeeTrynt page. You interact with either one. But in the post, the point of my post was to, I was looking to encourage people to look at the reality of the Browns situation versus their emotional side of it. Okay. Now when it comes to the Browns quarterback situation, all right, and make sure you definitely follow InDaStreetzSportz.com to get the latest articles, because I will be posting one about this very soon. A little more detailed, give you time to really dive in. But if we're looking at the Browns team and we're saying, okay, we're just speaking on offense. Just totally speaking on offense. The Browns have a good offensive line. They have a good running attack. They have pretty good tight ends. But they have an issue with the passer and the receivers in the passing game. So, entering this year, all right, now when it comes to this year's NFL draft, there are a lot of good players in this draft, okay? Some would say, and a lot of people will argue, there aren't a lot of outstanding number one overall selections in the draft. However, there are a lot of pretty good selections in the draft. Guys who could grow and probably become studs, to be honest. And it just depends on how people want to play it or look at it, or how how you groom your talent. When it comes to the quarterback class in this year's draft, we project, and most of us assume, that this year's class is not that good. A lot of these guys coming out were not the best quarterbacks in college. And the best two quarterbacks in college, arguably, or even the best five quarterbacks in college, arguably, were underclassmen. You know what I mean? So, I don't debate a lot of people when they say this probably isn't the year to pick quarterback. Okay, go Brown, healthy alien, go Browns, you already know. You feel me? So, but nonetheless, when it comes to a quarterback, when it comes to, putting together a team, it's all about how you groom the talent. All right. You could say, hey, this quarterback ain't worthy. Hey, this quarterback ain't ready. But everybody is a system quarter. Everybody is a system player. Every quarterback is a system quarterback.
Ideally, though, you want to put together the best team that helps you succeed. All right. So again, looking at this Browns roster, we are in win now mode. All right. I will not debate that with anybody. The Browns are in win now mode, but the Browns aren't in title win now mode. And I think this is where a lot of fans get delusional. Because you have one of the top roster talents in the league, doesn't mean you're going to always compete at the highest level for the highest award. Ideally, it's a transition. You want to go from sucking to be a consistent playoff contender to a consistent playoff includer or includee to a title mainstay. All right, that is very, very hard to win games in the NFL. All right, even if you ain't never played in the NFL and you just been watching the NFL, you can see damn well that these players play hard and they study a whole hell of a lot to almost barely damn near get it. And you all hear them say it takes a lot of luck. Okay? But the Browns are in a serious predicament with their QB situation. All right? And I just try to get people to face the facts. All right? Face the facts. Now, my post, all right? It only highlighted the facts. This is Baker Mayfield. This is what he's, in so many words, this is what he's accomplished and been through since he's been in the NFL. The positives, and these are the negatives for Baker Mayfield. We got 4 years of evidence. All right? People want to say, hey, he had 3 different head coaches in 2 years, which is true. But he's also had the same coaching staff for going on 3 years straight. So when does the old narrative about him having 3 head coaches for the first 2 years, when does that end? When is that no longer relevant? Because he spent the last 2 years with the same coaches in the same system, and he regressed. Again, this is where I would associate his first 2 years to his last 2 years. Because in his first season, he looked nice. In his second season, he regressed. And in his first season with Stefanski, he looked nice. But in his second season, he regressed. Now, people will say he was hurt. He was hurt. But he did not allow that to stop him from playing. So because he chose to play, he can't get a pass for playing hurt. You actually get condemned for that because you ultimately put the team in a bad situation because you couldn't accept the fact that you weren't able to be 100%. And quiet as it's kept, your 100% isn't, your 100% is nice. It's very nice, Baker. Your 100% is nice. But it doesn't move the needle, which is the problem for a guy drafted first overall in a draft where one of the guys, he was drafted first, and the guy who was drafted last in that same first round has already won an MVP. The other quarterback who was drafted right after him has already been to 2 conference championships. So if you are measured against your draft class, and you are the guy who were picked to be the best of the draft class, why are you not the cream of the crop? People will say, oh, the defense. Listen, bro. I watched Peyton Manning take the Indianapolis Colts and make them contenders with no fucking defense. I've watched numerous teams. The Kansas City Chiefs won a Super Bowl with minimal defense. All right, so we're not going to use this excuse to try to paint the narrative that, hey, the defense is why Baker ain't succeeding. Baker is the reason why Baker isn't succeeding. And I will go as far as to say that Baker Mayfield has become a locker room cancer. Right? Baker Mayfield, in his 4 years in the NFL, every season gets into it with a coach on the coaching staff, a player on the team, a media member, and the fans. I seen T.O. get labeled team obliterator for less. And you're telling me everything Baker has done, all the interactions he's been into, all the negative connotations that comes with his name associated with the Browns, that's not locker room cancerous? When the locker room is reportedly being divided between the quarterback and the receiver who wanted out, the receiver gets out and go win the championship. You don't think that doesn't have some type of negative effect on Baker Mayfield? In my opinion, Baker Mayfield is selfish. It's not that he's untalented. He's very talented. Physically. When it comes to the mental aspects of football, though, he is very much lacking. He is very much lacking. Okay? Very much. The fact that any defender on an opposing defense can trick and bait Baker into making mistakes. And let me add in the fact that the guy taken number 1 overall at quarterback the year after him has already been to a Super Bowl. Now, if we get into context and we break it down in the details and you say, hey, Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry are really good receivers, but they're little receivers. And they've gotten older, and through the injuries and time, they've probably lost a step or two. I won't debate that. That has legitimacy. Even though it may not be as big significant as somebody would try to make it, it does have some legitimacy. So one could say, hey, if you get Baker some receivers, he might look better. The problem is, though, in a market where players want to get paid and they want to win and they want to like where they play at while they win, most receivers choose a team by the quarterback and the money and the city that they're going to. Cleveland is not a free agent destination place. If you don't like snow, you're not want to go into Cleveland. So that leaves us with the quarterback and the money. Now, we have various guys we got to resign. That's a whole other segment we get into. But we could pay. But what about the quarterback? What about the quarterback? I don't believe that there are wide receivers or top talent wide receivers lining up to play with Baker Mayfield. I just don't believe it. Unless I see a report or something that tells me otherwise, I just don't believe it. There's just no way that that's happening. So, in my mind, if the Browns want to get, a guy in here who will be a great pairing, where it's like you found your Devontae Adams to your Aaron Rodgers, your Marvin Harrison to your Peyton Manning. But that's not about to happen because Baker is a shitty leader. You know what I'm saying? Like, just man to man, like, he is a shitty leader. At least from what he's displayed on the football field. Baker Mayfield whines. He complains. He doesn't take full responsibility for anything. It's always somebody else's fault. Is that the guy you want leading your locker room? Leading the other men on your team? Is that what we really signing up for? So anyway, let's get back to my post, which is the whole point of this video. The post basically, just gives food for thought, and I basically want to know, do people think that Kevin Stefanski, Andrew Berry, Paul DePodesta, have Baker shown them enough for them to earn the right to pick their own quarterback? Do they have enough leeway to get in a position to handpick their own QB that they want to, virtually hands their careers and tenure on? I would say yes. I would say despite Baker's inefficiencies, they've been able to throw together a solid roster and have convinced top free agents to come over and play, despite Baker's inefficiency and inconsistency. So that has to speak for something. I asked, could Baker Mayfield be auditioning this season for another team? And I believe that's true too. Because I think the front office decided last year that they wasn't going to move on with Baker. Now, if Baker comes out this upcoming season and he is still on the team and he remains a starter, and he puts up Pro Bowl numbers and getting MVP conversation and ends up winning the Super Bowl, then we can have a totally different conversation about Baker Mayfield and the Browns next year or next offseason. But as far as this offseason goes, and going off track record of what I've seen, Baker ain't it, dog. They already decided last year he wasn't it, but it ain't a big market for QBs or the ones you want, or you might have to overpay, or you might have to do something drastic. But next year, Spencer Rattler, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, they all will be eligible. Even Quinn Ewers, who I think transferred to go somewhere else, he might even. I mean, you just never know. A guy off the radar could come up and be that guy. So, I think the Browns are just trying to see what they have. Honestly. Listen, if Baker balls out, his trade value goes up, you could trade him. If he balls out and people want to trade for him, but they want to try to lowball the Browns, then the Browns should be able to franchise tag him. Because I'm pretty sure they're going to get a deal done with Njoku for the year out. They should franchise tag him and force whoever trades for him to have to give up at least 2 first-round picks. Because ideally, that would be smart. That would be the move. But the Browns don't play it by ear. I'm going to say this like I've been saying, and I'm not going to move off this train. Until Deshaun Watson actually lands on another team, I feel like Cleveland is the best shot to get Deshaun Watson. And I say this because I'm not the one saying Baker is a bust. I just believe Baker is the type of quarterback where you have to build the whole system around him if you want him to be successful. The whole team has to be built around him. The whole play calling shit has to be built around him. Kevin Stefanski did this in his first year. But in his second year, he wanted to do it the way he wanted to do it. And Baker ain't adjust. So, they going to go for a QB, bro. In my opinion, though, bro, this team already built. And I know I probably seem a little scatterbrained. Y'all got to excuse me. I had a couple of drinks and shit. I've been thinking about this and pondering on this. It's so many different thoughts that I do have on the subject. but I got so much stuff for my article. I don't want to risk saying too much on here and you not read the article. You know what I mean? But I just think the Browns are already built for rookie QB. If the Browns traded Baker, let's say somebody wanted to offer a couple first round picks or a first and a second for Baker, I would trade his ass. I would trade Baker the fuck out of here. You know why? Because I don't want that headache in my locker room. And that is the number one thing about being so comfortable with getting rid of Baker Mayfield, bro. Baker Mayfield, through his actions and his interaction with the rest of the league, he is a locker room cancer. Everything he does denotes and proves that he's a locker room cancer or a potential big one. But I think he's already become one. You know, the NFL is a brotherhood. They supposed to stand up for you even when you ain't worthy of standing up for until you're not on the team. If they want Baker trade value to be up, they're not going to badmouth Baker right now, a la Philadelphia 76ers. But even, you know, like I say, a la Philadelphia 76ers. But anyway, so, you know, it's some teams out there that still want quarterbacks. Or, like I say, man, if the Browns do end up with Baker for this year, it's not a shocker. But I truly just feel like he's only doing it to increase his trade value. Because somebody gonna be fucked up. Bro, I would love it. You know what I would love though? I would just love for that Watson and the Texans and Browns, bro. Because Baker Mayfield going back to Texas is going to fill the stadium up. You can get him a couple first round picks and a couple second round picks, bro, and that shit hurts nothing for the Browns. You know why? Because most of their core is young and they already drafted them. You know what I'm saying? Like these guys are already on the fucking roster. All you got to do is worry about keeping them and being able to pay them. If you give up a first round picks and a couple second round picks, that's money back on your cap that you don't have to pay first and second round picks on an already guaranteed rookie pay scale. That money can go to re-signing a Greedy, a Ward, a Jadeveon Clowney. You know what I'm saying? It could go towards bringing in a free agent wide receiver to pair with Deshaun Watson. All right? Because right now, if the Browns get any receiver out of this free agent class, it's going to probably be like a D.D. Westbrook, a DJ Chark, you know, a Christian Kirk, guys who have shown glimpses and made it seem like they can really take off in this league, but haven't really taken off in this league. Now, will those type of guys fit with the Browns? They will. But do the Browns really risk paying receivers this year that may not already panned out or may not really want to play their whole contract after 1 year, like Odell did, or like Jarvis is doing to a degree? And I'm not bad mouthing them, but we got to be able to just call a spade, bro. A person actions speak everything. You know what I'm saying? But two, do you risk leaving yourself out of what could possibly happen next season? Now, the way it looks set up, if you're the Browns, you would probably want to get your receivers out the draft this year and then look for your rookie quarterback next year. But if they're going to do that this year, and it's really about finding the right quarterback, and you want to be in a position to trade up for Bryce Young or CJ Stroud or Spencer Rattler or Caleb Williams, you're probably going to have to move this year's first round in order to acquire more draft picks this year and some for next year to help build up your ammunition. You got to remember the Browns are past that stage where they got all them picks for, you know, they passed that. All right. We do have multiple thirds and multiple fourths though from, you know, our former one of our former front office people signing with the Vikings, and then we had an extra fourth round pick from a trade or something. But so but in my opinion, they shouldn't do that with the 13th pick. I'm absolutely sold on Jordan Davis. So I wouldn't be bothered if the Browns selected a Malik Willis with the 13th pick. I wouldn't be bothered if they took a Garrett Wilson, a Chris Olave. I wouldn't be bothered. I wouldn't be bothered if they took Nakobe Dean. I don't care what nobody say. Nakobe Dean is a good ass linebacker, and he would fit great between JOK and Jacob Phillips. That would be an awesome linebacking core, all right? But if Jordan Davis, the big defensive tackle from Georgia, falls to number 13, the Browns have to take him. Because the way I see it as, you draft this 6'6", 340-pound defensive tackle, you re-sign Jadeveon Clowney. Now you got Miles, Clowney, and and Davis as the cornerstones for your line. Bro, that's got to be the dream pick. You know what I'm saying? But, because I only got to do a short video and I got to get ready to go. And I want to thank all those who come in, those who, listen, get a feedback and all that. Like I said, I know sometimes I can be a little scatterbrained. I ain't running from the script right now. So I can be a little scatterbrained. And I appreciate all y'all still tuning in, giving your feedback, follow, like, and sharing. You feel what I'm saying? But my conclusion on Baker is he's already proven what he is and what he isn't. Has he reached his ceiling? Has he reached his ceiling? I don't believe that. But I believe for right now, what he's seen, for 4 years of what he's done with the Browns, for 2 years that he's been with this regime and they see him day in and day out, I think they got to move on. I think it's in the best interest that they move on. If you're about culture change, your face of the franchise cannot be a locker room cancer and not produce on game day. You can't have it both ways. You know what I'm saying? But, the Browns could. Oh, yeah, I want to say this too. Just because Mr. Andrew Berry and head coach Kevin Stefanski came out and said Baker was the starter for next year, does not mean Baker's still going to be on a roster that don't get completed until August, September. And we're talking in March. I believe, without a doubt, Deshaun Watson is about to get cleared. Especially if Pittsburgh and several other teams are trying to trade for him right now. The league know he about to get cleared. So for all those people talking this, oh, he did that, bruh, name me one black person in history with 22 rape allegations and they ain't in jail. After 2 years, he not even being held in jail until his trial. He freed in the motherfucker. So, while people say this and that, you got to go with the reality. All right? And for those who will say Watson wouldn't come to the Browns, let's be realistic about this. What other team is Watson going to go to and he's going to be a contender when he gets there? Who? A lot of these teams have quarterbacks already. You could say Tennessee, but I don't think Tennessee's in a position to trade draft picks like that. They could. You could say the Saints. You could say a lot of people. But if I'm Deshaun Watson and I'm saying, bro, I got Chubb and Hunt, and I could possibly have Jadeveon back with Miles and Ward and John Johnson III. Bro, it's a lot of people looking at Cleveland roster saying, I can win with that roster. The problem is the is the sports media. It's not the fans. But thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate it. Follow us on all social medias, InDaStreetzSportz, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. All right. Follow us on Anchor, Spotify, Radio Public, Google Podcasts. All right. I am DeeTrynt. This is Game Changer Sports Talk. It was a pleasure talking with y'all. I'm going to get up with y'all later, man. One.